Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor, and I got a little bit of a late start today. I'm going to be watching some college baseball today. Now, I'm going to talk about something very interesting in the group, and it's not talked about much in crypto today. In the group, I'm going to talk, you've got about, 30,000 plus digital assets out there. I believe 99% of it is going to not necessarily go away, but I believe that there's going to be a handful of these, maybe 10 to 30, that survive. And I'm going to show you how I think this happens and how blue chip digital assets like XRP end up sucking up a lot of the capital because it'll be in the club. And I'm going to talk about that in the group today, and you'll like this. Now, if you're an XRP holder, you'll like it, and several others. So if you want to join the group, go to daixrp.com to join through the Patreon, or click the join button right here below any of my YouTube videos, and you can join through YouTube if you'd prefer. I want you to see this. This is Andrew, what's his name? Andrew Garside. He's a senior broker over at Caleb & Brown, my partner, affiliate, whatever you want to call it. Folks, it's a different experience at Caleb & Brown.
So you, as a client of ours, we have the account set up, you have your personal broker allocated to you, and then it's literally this. You call and you have a phone call with your broker. We can go through portfolio construction, we can go through trading strategies, we can go through market updates, forecasts, all of that sort of thing. So at the end of the day as well, it's also something where if you're new to the industry or you're new to the asset class, where do you start?
Yeah.
You don't know where to start. And also in terms of how do I weight my portfolio? Do I have just one asset or within cryptocurrency, or do I have 3? Do I have 20 different types of cryptocurrency in my portfolio? And these are the things that we can discuss. And that's the thing with having a broker, you can definitely help with that.
Get somebody to talk to. Top 2 concerns that we've all had since I got in this. One is how to keep your crypto safe. And at Caleb & Brown, you have institutional custody through Fireblocks. And there's insurance too, which is huge. And then you get somebody to talk to. Your exchange doesn't freeze. You actually have someone you can call and say, listen, sell, or buy, whatever. And they actually will go over strategies with you. So you can get to my page if you want to open an account. I made it easy. I created XRPwealth589.com. You go to that .com and it will forward you to my page here on Caleb & Brown. And then you hit the sign up today button. Easy peasy. XRP Las Vegas, we're almost 30 days out now. And I wanted to make sure, I've shown this before, but Brad Combs from Digital Perspectives, he's the creator of the conference. I just help out with the marketing. But he has put the entire agenda on here, and it is unbelievable this year. I mean, there are everybody from Brad Garlinghouse to David Schwartz, Chris Giancarlo is going to be there. I even saw in here Greg Kidd, who was one of the first 10 people at Ripple, who has his own bank now, and they're issuing a stable coin. He's going to be there on stage. It's going to be wild. So go to xrplasvegas.com. Don't miss it. This one's going to be the biggest one yet by a long shot. This thing has grown and grown and grown. In fact, I talked to Brad Combs this morning. I heard the ticket number, and I was like, "You got to be kidding me!" I mean, it's blown my mind. Okay, the markets, we got 222 XRP. XRP's kind of been moving up a little bit the last couple of days. A good thing. Okay, look at this. You don't even know what a crypto economic boom is in the United States if this happens. Trump put this tweet out today. When tariffs cut in, many people's income taxes will be substantially reduced, maybe even completely eliminated. Focus will be on people making less than $200,000 a year. Also, massive numbers of jobs are already being created with new plants and factories currently being built or planned. It will be a bonanza for America. The External Revenue Service is happening, folks. Huge. Here's another clip from Monica Long in the recent interview she did, put out by Riz.
Your take on something that has happened in the first 3 months, which is crypto strategic reserve in the US. Obviously, there was a lot of confusion over it, what assets might be in it, whether they'll be buying new Bitcoin, etc. But ultimately, has this been something positive or kind of slightly underwhelming?
I think it's positive. I think it's a big deal for any government, certainly a G20 government like the U.S., to just validate the legitimacy of the asset. I think that more than anything is what I took away from it.
Yeah. Have there been any conversations from Ripple around including XRP in that crypto strategic reserve going forward?
I think, I know what, Trump's announcement was. He did cite XRP as one of the many assets that they would be looking to include. I think, from our standpoint, and our CEO, Brad, has been pretty consistent saying he just wishes for the U.S. government, all governments, to create a level playing field for all crypto assets.
You mentioned the Securities and Exchange Commission earlier in the U.S., and you had a very long-standing legal battle with them. Those issues have gone away now. What does that mean for Ripple?
Yeah, it's good to have that behind us. And the judge's ruling in our case was actually July of 2023. So in that moment, she wrote the law of the land, that XRP in and of itself is not a security. And that's really how we've moved forward with our business since then. The appeal outstanding obviously created some level of uncertainty, but we felt really, really good about her ruling, that it made a lot of sense. And so it's just nice to now have that off the table and done.
Your take.
Okay, very interesting stuff. And so is this. Smoke put this out. Former eToro U.S. CEO. Digital assets are the first asset class in history that the regular person entered before institutions. And I said up here, they needed retail to test it for a decade. Those who saw what was coming will be the next generation of wealth lock in.
Value, right? So what's interesting about digital assets, you have to remember, is it's the first asset class in history in which the regular person entered before institutions did. That's why everybody's up in arms, right? Regular people, this is a retail individual person phenomenon before it became a Wall Street phenomenon. It's one of the first asset classes. I challenge you to find another asset class. So it totally upended the idea of what power looks like, what power structure looks like, how technology works. And so I don't want to lose that wisdom. That wisdom was really valuable, regardless of normalizing regulations, ingesting and digesting the sort of the bad actor issues. We should not lose that wisdom, that access to technology to a broad set of people is the way that you mitigate the evils that could reside in it.
See, so if you put it all together, folks, you create these digital assets. You make it look like a libertarian movement. You get and all these people come in. First asset class in history. It's not a coincidence that this was created to look like this, and because they want retail to feel, yeah, we got to it first. But this thing's been planned for a long time. And yes, she's right. Retail did get the first bite of the apple, but not because they wanted to let them to, except for the fact that I think they wanted this to look like a libertarian movement, so the people felt like they had this is ours, Bitcoin, it's a anti-government and all that. No, it's not what it is. But this was all to herd us all in. And yes, there's going to be a lot of money made by the people who saw this early. And it's going to be wild, folks. Speaking of wild, I don't know if this is true or not. I don't really know if they're reading too much into this or not. There's a little thing that was highlighted April 30th, 2025, pursuant to paragraph B. And they're all putting out saying that the SEC has approved the public launch for April 30th of the ProShares Trust XRP ETF. I hope that is the case, but that's what they're saying. Here's Charles Hoskinson on Vitalik Buterin.
If Vitalik Buterin called me tomorrow and said, let's do something together, Ethereum and Cardano, you think I'm going to slam the phone and say you're an evil asshole and you're a horrible person? I don't want to talk to you because all the mean things you and Lars Shin said about me? I'd pick up the phone and I'd say, okay, well, what do you want to do? And I said, well, we want to co-develop the privacy stuff together. Do you want to work on snarks with us? Sure. Let's have a workshop. Let's talk about it.
Glad he wants to get along. Now, I just want to say something. Now, these guys from Easy A, Dom and Phil Kwok, these guys, I've been watching these guys. And these guys are what's been needed for the builder-developer community for a long time. They're energetic, they're optimistic, they're builders, and at the same time, they're optimistic on crypto, and they're not afraid to tell you they're optimistic on crypto and the fact that the market's going to explode and money will be made. These guys are not afraid to say it. What's wrong with saying it? That's why we all got here anyway. I mean, we got here because everybody was optimistic about price and all that different stuff. Why not be optimistic? We've got all the reasons to be optimistic. But I love watching what these guys put out because it's this kind of energy, positive energy, that is going to grow this space. They're at Harvard doing one of their, they went to Harvard and they're doing one of their hackathons. And then here they are again. They're bullish. Are you locked in? I'm locked in. Look, even in the Middle East, CNBC avoids mentioning XRP like the plague.
There's a lot of happening on the stablecoin ecosystem, real world assets, yield-bearing stablecoins. Obviously, they need to be built on L1. Do you believe we're going to continue, we're going to see a revival of Ethereum, which is still the dominant player in the space, or other L1s like Solana will really take over and probably eclipse what we had with Ethereum? Or it's a third player that will come in and really come win this race of L1s?
Yeah, this goes back to what we experienced in the non-crypto world, right? We want things that are faster, cheaper, and therefore arguably better, especially they're scalable. So the challenge is just the way Ethereum challenged Bitcoin, and they came up with smart contracts and they came up with a layer for transactions. Solana, Sui, and various other coins are basically challenging Ethereum's dominance. They're doing so by making it cheaper, lower transaction fees, and arguably faster, more transactions per second, and by creating inbuilt modules that allow for scalability. So if you have new networks that make things better, that's the beauty of technology. Innovation just surpasses innovation itself. So if you can find more models that are improving on the status quo, why not? Solana is one of the leading contenders.
Thank you so much.
There's a lot of happening on the stablecoin ecosystem, real world assets, yield-bearing stablecoins. Obviously.
All right. Then we've got this. Here is Crazy Max Kaiser.
So Bitcoin should trade at parity to gold in terms of market capitalization, which means that it could easily go from 85,000 a coin to 850,000 a coin during this cycle. So say the next 5 years. So you got 1,000% return in 5 years. I think is a reasonable expectation for Bitcoin as it achieves parity in market capitalization with gold, which it definitely should because it does everything gold does, but it does it better.
All right. And then we have this is I think this is at that crypto SEC roundtable.
The problem that we have is that we're trying to fit a technology designed to be a peer-to-peer payment system into a system for centralized trading. And it's not a good match, right? This is why we have these frictions. The basic idea of a custodian traditionally was this is someone who's going to physically hold your assets. They're going to have a vault or something, right? And we're going to make sure that the door is, a sufficient number of inches thick and that it's fireproof for 24 hours, not just for 12 or the like. And that's a really different set of skills than are required to secure crypto. And though I think the idea of a custodian has a lot of merit to it, and there are some, especially when we're an investment advisor, investment company, we probably want to be a little more careful with self-custody in that context. But when you're, or really at that point, the investment advisor would be the custodian if they're self-custodying because they're doing it for someone else. The skill set that's needed is different than what traditional custodians have. And I think that we should be having a regulatory framework that acknowledges that. Now, that doesn't mean that that we shouldn't have any rules about who can be a custodian, but we should be recognizing that your traditional financial institutions may not be the right ones to be doing crypto custody.
All right, and then we've got Dark Defender. People are getting distracted, but don't be. Next week might be a volatile. XRP will continue to climb to the top. I will make a projection for the bull run. TikTok. Then we got this. This is Reese Merrick from Ripple. The stablecoin market cap has surged 32% in the past 6 months, climbing from 168.78 billion to 223.61 billion, with M2 now at 21.76 trillion. Stablecoins make up 1% of the global money supply. We're just at the beginning. Check. Okay, and then there's this. Looks interesting on 4 hour. Over the standard deviation, we likely move up quickly to the next one at $3, then one around $4.20, and the last one at the top around $8. Coincidentally, my main target this cycle. Now, you'll all remember when Brad Garlinghouse said this.
Ahead. I think, anytime there's a new market, there's a lot of people that run into that market and try to show that they can solve a problem, they can deliver a customer need. I have said publicly before that I think 99% of all crypto probably goes to zero. But there is that 1% where I think that is focused on solving a real problem for real customers and is able to do that at scale. And that's going to be game changing. And I think that's going to continue to grow significantly in the decades ahead.
I'm going to, in the group today, I'm going to go over this and I'm going to show you how I think this is going to happen. And it doesn't necessarily mean that the 99% are going to go to zero, but they'll become irrelevant in the bigger market. And I'm going to show you how I think that happens and how there's going to be a rush of capital, most of the capital, into a handful. And I'll go over some of those handful of which digital assets they'll be too. Go to the Patreon at daixrp.com or go to join through YouTube if you just click the join button right below my video. I'm the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe, hit the like button, tell your friends and family. Away we go.